Hello and thank you for joining me. So today I have three knives from Kansept. We got a new model and two classics that I don't think get enough attention, but excited to talk about these ones. But even more excited to talk about the new Tarkin from Kansept Knives. Just a beautiful, beautiful design from Matthew Christensen. I really love his designs, and hopefully one day I'll get one of his handmade customs. But again, this is the Tarkin. This is the black washed finish version with the black washed blade. So you guys can see right here. This is a very extreme slight tanto. So you guys can see right there, there is a secondary edge, but it's very, very faint. And I gotta be honest, as soon as you sharpen it, this thing will disappear. So it'll just basically be a drop point, but that's okay. I think it looks really, really good. But really quick, I just want to go through the materials and what you're getting with the Tarkin. So you got a titanium construction all the way around. This is a frame lock with a steel insert. You do have titanium pivot collars, all blacked out hardware, a CNC milled titanium pocket clip, which is beautifully done. And then you also have a titanium backspacer with really, really nice jimping. For the blade, you have one of my favorite steels, a 20CV steel blade, again with that black wash finish. You do have a thumb disc for deployment. I'm usually not a fan of thumb discs, but this one works very, very well. And then you also have a front flipper tab with really nice jimping where it's not aggressive, but it does grip the skin of your thumb or finger or whatever you're using. So the blade does fly out very, very nice. It is riding on bearings, so super, super smooth. Now I've handled the prototype at Blade Show Texas earlier this year, and I just fell in love with it. I just think, again, it's a really, really great design, and really enjoy the ergos. So even without choking up on that finger choil, super comfortable. And I like how your thumb lands on this thumb disc. It's got a nice feel to it. Since that thumb disc is so flat and wide, it has a nice platform for your thumb to sit on. Again, making it very comfortable. The pocket clip is not a hot spot, so it just kind of melts away and hides. Nobody really likes something poking them in the palm, so I really appreciate that. And even when you choke up on it with that front finger choil, super comfortable. You do get really close to that cutting edge, but I've never really nicked my finger on it, so no issues with that as well. Reverse grip is super comfortable as well. I like this little downward section design-wise. Your thumb lands on it perfectly, exactly where all that jimping is, and again, just super comfortable. I love the access to the frame lock. You do have this little cut section on the show side scale, and they even chamfered it pretty heavily for your thumb to land on there. There's no jimping or anything, but it does not need it. Again, easily accessible, and it just falls shut on those super smooth bearings, which are ceramic and I believe brass caged, which Kansept does that on all their models if it does use bearings. Now using the thumb disc with your thumb works beautifully, as I just messed up right there. But that little jimping on the thumb disc, as you guys can see there. Also really quick, want to mention that the thumb disc is titanium, but it does fly out beautifully. Reverse flick works just as good. I mean, this thing rockets out. I think the detent on this one is just perfect. You can use the front flipper tab with your thumb, and then you can even finger roll it, which works great. And you can even finger flip it, which is also really nice. So just overall, really good detent, super smooth, and just really nothing negative about this thing, other than there's no reversible pocket clip, but you know, that's pretty rare to get the best of both worlds. And I know Kansept is known to do left-hand versions of knives if they do really well. So if this does well, more than likely they'll do a left-hand version. Now this knife is surprisingly light due to the fact that they did a lot of internal milling. So you guys can see right there on the show side, and they even continued it onto the frame lock side towards the back there. And one thing I really like with Kansept is their black wash finish. I'd say they're probably one of my favorites at it. You can see how it's just very even. The edges are heightened due to that stone wash. And even on the blade, you get that same effect. Again, just like I said earlier, very even. And I do like the chamfering they did all the way around the scales. And it's just it's the same width all the way around, which I think looks really, really good. This knife in pocket does very, very well. The tension's really good. And in and out of pocket is very smooth. I know it's not a deep carry, but I mean, really that's all you're seeing out of the pocket, which is not much. Also, I'm not really a big fan on deep carry, so I am super happy with this pocket clip. Now, aesthetically or visually, design-wise, I really, really love the simple and clean lines. I think it looks really good. And again, I think Mr. Christensen did a beautiful job designing this, and I could not be happier with it. Quickly want to mention that the plunge line on this knife is very, very small. So you guys can see it ends right about there. So you do have a long life of sharpening. And you're definitely going to have to sharpen this thing a lot to get to that point. But you guys can see there is no stop pin over here. So even if you do get to this point for whatever reason, let's say use this knife for years and years and years, and you finally get to that plunge line, you can always add your own sharpening choil. So it's nice that this thing has a lot of sharpening life. This is a knife that I would highly recommend if you're looking for a premium knife and super good quality. I definitely recommend the Kansept TARKIN. Again, just a great, great knife overall. And I also want to mention that when you open the package to this knife, you do get a nice coin with Matthew Christensen's logo. And then on the other side, you have Kansept's logo. So just really cool that they give you one of these. And if you guys don't know about Matthew Christensen or any of his work, I will leave a link down below in the description to his Instagram. I highly recommend you guys go check out his stuff because he does awesome, awesome work. Now moving over to these other two designs. These are probably my favorite Kansept designs, and I'm going to dive into why. But we're going to start off with the Bulldozzer. Now, just so you guys know, this is the premium version with the frame lock. They do have a mid-tier version with S35E in steel, which I have right here. So this is my personal knife, and it's one of my favorite designs by Kansept, just because it's super simple. You guys can see here with the full liners and the carbon fiber S35E in steel. But the premium here comes with 20 CV steel, obviously titanium construction with a titanium frame lock, mill titanium clip. You got the titanium pivot collars, then obviously that 20 CV steel blade. Sheep's foot, I think it looks, just as the name implies, this thing is a bulldozer. This thing goes through material, no problem. I really, really love this design. And as I was saying earlier, you do have the full premium, the mid-tier, and then you have a budget version with D2 steel, which I think comes in at $77, which I think is really good. And really quick, before I talk a little bit more, I want to mention that if you guys go to White Mountain Knives, I'll leave the link in the description below, you can get 10% off at checkout with my discount code Nathan's Knives. So if you guys are interested in any of these knives I'm talking about, White Mountain Knives carries them, and they were kind enough to hook you guys up with 10% off. But getting back to the knife, I think this one is overlooked a lot. I think a lot of people don't even know this thing exists, but this is a knife I recommend at shows all the time, since people ask me what my favorite Kansept is, and I'd say this is top 3, very close to my actual favorite one. Again, because it's a workhorse. This thing puts in a lot of time with me. Not this one, but my personal one. Only thing is, I wish it had thumb studs. I think that'd be perfect. I might do a custom version of this where I drill a hole and put thumb studs, but I also heard that Kansept wants to bring this back with a Axis style lock and thumb studs, so we'll see what happens. But as you guys can see, The only form of deployment is that front flipper tab. But since that jimping is done very, very well, similar to the Tarkin, it's not aggressive, but it does grab the skin of your thumb. So with the thumb, flies right out. Super smooth since this thing is riding on bearings. You can do the finger roll. And you can also do the, I guess, the finger snap. But super, super good action. I love that on the premium version, you can actually swap the pocket clip from right to left. So they were thinking about you lefties. So that's really nice about the premium version. Now the mid-tier or the budget version doesn't have reversible pocket clips, but left-hand wise it works really, really good. I'm not left-handed and I can easily do it. Now ergos wise, this thing is super, super comfortable. And again, that pocket clip disappears, no hot spots. I guess I'd call it a front finger choil, but you can really choke up on that. And again, I use my other personal knife to just cut through cardboard all day when I'm doing jobs and daily tasks. But I mean, this thing cuts through cardboard no problem. Really, really enjoy this thing on the job site. So if you need a workhorse, this is one I really, really recommend. Visually, I think it's a super clean design. Again, that's my own personal taste. I love a knife that has a simple, clean design, which this clearly has, but I wish this would get talked about more, so that's why I wanted to shed some light on this. And again, you have the premium, the mid-tier, and then the budget. So if you are interested, you can get the D2 version and try it out for yourselves. Or if you're ever at the show, definitely get one of these in hand, but highly, highly recommend this if you're going to be using a knife at work a lot. Quickly want to mention that since the plunge line back here is very, very small, you do have a lot of life, or a lot of sharpening life on this blade. But eventually, I mean, if you're sharpening your knife to where you get to this point, you can always add your own sharpening choil. But by the time you get there, I mean, it's going to take some time, but I do like that about this knife. Now, moving on to another personal favorite from Kansept is the Kansept Predatout. Now, this is one of my favorite designs because it surprised me when I got this. I remember I purchased one of these about maybe 2-3 years ago. It was on sale on White Mountain Knives, and it caught my eye. Visually, it just had a lot of lines and curves, and I told myself, yeah, it's definitely very busy. It's simple but busy in the sense of it's got a lot of waves and features that really stand out. But when I got this in hand, I was amazed on how super comfortable this thing is. Even if you choke up, it's not really a front finger choil, but you can definitely choke up on that. But just doing the regular grip where it kind of guides your hand, super, super comfortable. All I do with this knife is when it's at the show is I just put it in people's hands and they agree with me. And I don't think they're lying. They could be, but a lot of people say, yeah, it's super comfortable. Reverse grip, super comfortable as well. For some reason, this thing ergonomically is perfect in hand. I have medium to large size hands, but I've handed this to people with smaller hands and they agree it's just super comfortable. Even this little swoop down here on this drop point, I guess it's a harpoon. You guys let me know down below if that's the case, but even if you put your thumb further out, thumb has a lot to land on, and since it's just stone washed up here and it's smooth, it just feels really, really good on the thumb. But there are 0 hot spots. This front finger choil is not large to the point where it forces one of your fingers to land on there. I mean, it fits perfectly in between the fingers. So yeah, again, no hot spots. Pocket clip disappears. Even reverse grip wise, that pocket clip causes no issues. And another major feature that I really, really love about this knife is that every single Predatout that I have handled has had amazing action. I mean, this thing is just buttery smooth. The detent is perfect. You do have dual thumb studs and a flipper tab for deployment, and dual fullers that work really well. But the action is just so good. This is riding on bearings, just buttery smooth. And yeah, again, I've never handled a bad one. I have one from the show here, but this is the premium version, so you do have that frame lock. Even this one, really, really good action and just buttery smooth. And so basically, those are the two reasons why I really love this knife. Ergonomically, action, and really nothing bad about this knife. I'd say, in my opinion, this is one of the most perfect knives that I've ever handled, just because the action is really good. And just like the Bulldozzer we were talking about earlier, the Predator actually has a budget version, which this one is, 154 cm steel. Beautiful stonewash, by the way. And you do have that premium version, which comes with S35VN steel, then obviously titanium construction. But again, it's great that Kansept provides you with an option of getting the premium version or the budget version, just like this one. I gotta say, the budget version is, again, it feels really, really good. The quality on these are just fantastic. Now, again, I'm sure there's some bad apples out there, but like I said, every single one that I've handled has been amazing. And I gotta say, even though there's not any jimping on the flipper tab, I mean, this thing flies out. Light switch it all day. I don't even think you can fail this thing. I've tried, but again, the detail on this is so good. Yeah, I'd say it's impossible to fail with the flipper tab. Thumb stud works great, and you can reverse flick it no problem. So you can see right there. And again, the beauty of those dual fullers, you can reverse flick off the fuller, and then the thumb works just as good. So action-wise, ergonomics, quality, everything about this knife is great. And really quick, I want to mention you do have titanium pivot collars, and then milled titanium pocket clip, which is not reversible. But I think overall this knife is just fantastic. It's definitely in my top 3 favorite Kansept knives. Bulldozzer being my most favorite. Again, there's a lot of gorgeous knives by Kansept. I think they're killing it, especially with the newer stuff they're coming out with. The designers they're picking, collaborations, you name it. I mean, I think they're a knife company to be reckoned with. They're definitely taking it very serious, and I'm excited to see more of their new designs, their new creations. And again, these two right here, the Bulldozzer and the Predator, again, I think are sleepers. They don't get the attention they deserve. So if you have the chance to get these in hand, I highly recommend them. I'd even go as far as just saying, take the chance on these. I don't think you'll regret it. And again, that link down below to White Mountain Knives is going to save you a couple bucks. So highly recommend these two. I highly recommend this one. This, again, is a newer model, but I think they nailed it. Just beautifully, beautifully done. Kansept is, I'm happy with them. They're definitely doing it right. And let me know down below if you guys or your guys' experience with Kansept is good or bad. Or if you are a fan of Kansept, let me know down below what your favorite Kansept knife is. I really, really would love to know what you guys think about them. As always, I really, really thank you for watching. I really appreciate the support. And I will see you on the next one.